Lights, camera, action.
Some careers are built on talent, others are built on hard work. But the careers that truly stand the test of time are built on character. Because talent can earn you recognition, skill can open opportunities. But neither guarantees that people will trust you, follow you, or choose to work alongside you. Today's workplace cinema isn't really about fighter jets. It's about what happens when extraordinary talent collides with ego, when competition tests character, and when one person's journey teaches us that the greatest professionals aren't remembered for being the best. They are remembered for helping others become their best. Welcome to the Office Ninja Podcast.
Just want to serve my country, be the best fighter pilot in Navy, sir!
She's lost that love and feeling.
She's like,
Mayday, mayday. Mav's in trouble. He's in a flat spin.
For our first flyby, talent opens doors, character keeps them open.
Son, your ego is writing checks your body can't cash.
Sometimes the greatest obstacle to success isn't a lack of talent. It's believing your talent makes you untouchable. That's exactly who we meet in Pete Maverick Mitchell. From the very first few minutes of Top Gun, we're introduced to someone who is undeniably gifted. He's fearless in the cockpit. He thinks quickly under pressure. He has instincts that few pilots possess. Time and again, he demonstrates why he deserves to be among the very best. But alongside that brilliance is another side of Maverick. He ignores protocol. He takes unnecessary risks. He believes that because he can pull off extraordinary maneuvers, the rules don't always apply to him. That's why Stinger delivers one of the film's most memorable lines. Your ego is writing checks your body can't cash. It's not just a reprimand for Maverick. It's a warning that echoes in workplaces everywhere. How many times have we encountered the star performer in the office? That salesperson who consistently exceeds targets but leaves teammates frustrated because they refuse to collaborate. That engineer who's technically brilliant but dismisses every opinion except their own. The manager who achieves impressive results but creates an environment where no one feels respected. They are talented, sometimes exceptionally so. But talent alone doesn't build sustainable success. Because organizations don't just evaluate what you achieve, they also evaluate how you achieved it. In HR, we often say that performance and behavior are equally important. A high performer who's consistently damaging teamwork, ignores standards, or undermines trust can eventually become a liability rather than an asset. I've seen organizations where the most technically skilled employee wasn't promoted. Not because they lacked competence, but because leadership knew they weren't yet ready to lead people. That's one of the hardest lessons in any career. Your resume might get you the interview. Your technical skills might earn you the job. And your results might get you noticed. But it's your character, your humility, professionalism, coachability, and integrity that determines whether people continue to trust you with greater responsibility. Maverick eventually learns that lesson. Not because someone tells him he's talented. He already knows that. He grows because he realizes that talent without discipline doesn't inspire confidence. It creates uncertainty. His lesson? Talent may open the first door, but character is what keeps every door open after that. Never become so confident in your abilities that you stop being teachable. Because the best professionals aren't simply known for what they can do. They're remembered for the kind of people they choose to become. Next, confidence inspires. Ego isolates.
You don't have time to think up there. If you think, you're dead.
I believe this is one of the most powerful leadership lines in the entire movie. On the surface, Charlie is talking about fighter jets, but beneath that, she's talking about responsibility. Throughout our careers, it's easy to believe that success depends on having better resources, a larger budget, a bigger team, a newer system, the latest technology, or perhaps a more supportive boss. While those things certainly help, Charlie reminds Maverick of a truth that extends far beyond aviation. Two people can be given the exact same aircraft and produce completely different results. The difference isn't always the machine. It's the mindset of the person behind the controls. The same is true in our workplaces. Two supervisors can inherit the same team. One builds trust and engagement, the other creates frustration and turnover. Two HR professionals can implement the exact same policy. One earns credibility because people understand the purpose behind the change. The other faces resistance because communication and empathy were missing. The tools may be identical, the outcomes rarely are. That's why great professionals don't wait for perfect conditions before delivering great work. They focus on what they can influence: their preparation, their attitude, their decision, their consistency. Because leadership begins the moment we stop asking, "What do I wish I had?" and start asking, "What can I do with what I already have?" His lesson: confidence doesn't come from believing you have the best tools. It comes from knowing you'll give your very best with whatever tools are in your hands. Because in the end, it's not the plane, it's the pilot. Next, trust is earned under pressure.
Talk to me, Goose. Roger, I got him.
On paper, it's just a simple line, 3 words. But within the context of the movie, it means everything. Because in that moment, Maverick isn't looking for applause. He isn't trying to prove he's the best pilot in the sky. He's looking for reassurance. He's looking for the one person he trusts the most: Goose. Throughout Top Gun, Goose isn't just Maverick's radar intercept officer. He's his sounding board, his confidant, his voice of reason, his partner. And that's an important reminder for every workplace. Even the highest performing professionals need someone they can rely on. We sometimes celebrate the image of the lone superstar, the employee who seems to have all the answers, solves every problem, and never asks for help. But that's rarely how great organizations succeed. The strongest teams aren't built on individuals who carry everything alone. They're built on people who trust one another enough to communicate, challenge ideas, and support each other when the pressure is highest. In today's workplace, we often refer to this as psychological safety. It's creating an environment where people feel safe to ask questions, to admit mistakes, to ask advice, to say, "I need another perspective." Because asking for help isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign that the mission matters more than your pride. And perhaps that's one of the most overlooked leadership lessons in Top Gun. Maverick isn't made stronger because he refuses to depend on Goose. He's stronger because he knows he doesn't have to fly alone. The same is true for leaders. The strongest managers aren't the ones who always have the answers. They're the ones who build teams where everyone feels confident enough to contribute, challenge, and support one another. His lesson: success may begin with individual talent, but sustained success is built on trust. Because when the pressure is at its highest, the greatest advantage you'll ever have isn't simply what you know, it's knowing who is flying beside you. For our last stop, leadership begins when competition ends.
You can be my wingman anytime. Bullshit. You can be mine.
I absolutely love this ending. Not because it's clever, but because it represents how much both men have changed. Think back to where they started. Every encounter between Maverick and Iceman was a competition. Who was the better pilot? Who deserved to be number one? Who would graduate at the top of the class? They challenged one another, questioned one another, and even disliked one another. But when the mission became real, none of that mattered anymore. Because in the air, there was no room for ego. Only teamwork, only trust, only the mission. And that's one of the greatest lessons any workplace can learn. Too often, organizations unintentionally create environments where colleagues begin competing against one another instead of collaborating with each other. People guard information, celebrate individual wins while ignoring team success, or view a coworker's achievement as a personal loss. Healthy competition can motivate us to improve, but unhealthy competition creates silos, weakens trust, and ultimately hurts the organization. The best leaders understand that success isn't about being the smartest person in the room. It's about creating a room where everyone performs at their best, and that's exactly what happens between Maverick and Iceman. They stop trying to outshine one another and start relying on each other. That single shift changes everything. Imagine what our workplace would look like if we celebrated a teammate's promotion as enthusiastically as our own. If we shared knowledge instead of protecting it. If we measured success not by individual recognition but by what the entire team accomplished together. Because leadership isn't about standing in front of people, it's about standing beside them, helping them succeed, supporting them when they struggle, and celebrating when they excel. And that's what true wingman does. His lesson: the strongest leaders don't create followers, they create fellow leaders. Because at the end of every successful mission, people won't remember who wanted the spotlight. They'll remember who helped everyone land safely. And for our ninja takeaway, the biggest lesson from Top Gun isn't about flying. It's about maturity. Early in our careers, many of us want to be recognized. Later, we realize we'd rather be trusted. Recognition gets attention, trust builds careers. Confidence may help you stand out, while humility is what makes people want to follow you. Maverick didn't become a legend because he flew the fastest. He became one because he learned that greatness isn't measured by individual victories, but by the people you protect, the teammates you believed in, and the mission you're willing to put ahead of yourself. That's a lesson every workplace still needs today. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Workplace Cinema Series under the Office Ninja Podcast. Until our next movie, keep leading with courage, keep learning with humility, and never stop becoming the kind of professional others are proud to call their wingman. Work culture should never demand your personal space. Prioritize your inner peace. This is your Office Ninja.